Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a new show we're starting here in Fairfax County. It's about 4 years. I'm Phil Hargis. About 4 years ago, I started running. I weighed about 310 pounds. I needed to lose some weight, so I started running, and it was a good way for me to along with diet, to get down to a respectable weight. And as I did this, as you lose weight, it becomes much easier to go to run and run fast. And I started doing races, and I had a lot of fun with that. So I've just really fallen in love with the sport of running, and along with one of the local racing celebrities here, Chris Farley, we are going to bring you a show on running. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's probably one of the most actively participated in competitive sports for amateurs in the entire country. Chris, you probably know a little bit more about that, and Chris is with Pacers, so why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, Chris?
I'm Chris Farley. I'm general manager and owner of Pacers Running Stores, and very passionate about running and excited about this show. Running is probably the fastest growing sport for individuals who are over the age of 15 years old. And it really is not only a physically changing, but mentally changing, life-changing total experience. So, I'm just excited to be able to have a platform here to share some insight and talk about current topics in running.
Yeah, there's just so many exciting things about running, and there's just so many different niches that you can get into. You can get into the racing thing, you can run for health, you can run to lose weight. And there's also other things you can do. You can run to help others, and you can run for charities. Racing is a great way, Chris. With your involvement in the racing scene, there's a great way to raise money for a lot of really good causes.
Absolutely. We do a number of races with Pacers. We put on a series of a dozen to 15 races a year, and most of those races really do have a charity component to them. Runners generally are really not only are they're really passionate about running, but at the same time they're passionate about giving back to their communities. And a big thing with us at Pacers and the races that we do is the giving back to the communities. And we've partnered with this program, Back on My Feet, that I know we're going to get into here. And we have one of the executive directors here, a Back on My Feet program that is something that's right in line with our mission at Pacers, and it's a really a life-changing vehicle for individuals out here in the DC area. So we're really excited to be a part of it and excited to talk about it.
Right. I was, I'm one of the Pacers ambassadors. It's a great program that Pacers has set up, and I was doing this race back in March. It was the 4-course 4-miler, and I was handing out bibs as part of that. And this blonde gal sits down next to me, and she's like getting ready for the race and everything. And I don't know if you guys remember, it was pouring down rain that day. So I started chatting with her. She tells me she just moved down here from Philly, and then she told me that she is the founder of this program called Back on My Feet. So we went and ran the race, and then afterwards came back, asked her how she did, and I met Wylie here. In case you're wondering who this stranger is, over here, this is Wylie Belasik. Wylie, thank you for coming on the show. You're with Back on My Feet. You're the program director here in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
A great program. So welcome to the program.
No, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to talk to people, have people learn a little bit more about Back on My Feet and the relationship that we have with the DC running community as well, and also just to give some more background about what our program is and how it helps people move their lives forward.
Yeah, and Wylie's a very accomplished runner. He's just moved here, a couple months ago to found this thing. He ran in the Cherry Blossom 10-miler as one of his first races here in DC, I guess, along with the 4-course 4-miler, and finished in 53rd place with a very respectable time of about 54:57.
And I would guess that's just a training run for him. So he is faster than that, and probably has posted faster times. But 53rd is pretty darn good.
Yeah, it was actually pretty funny. It was a funny story. I was just hitting Haynes Point there, and I see Wylie come zipping by, and then I was like, "Damn, that looked like Wylie." Right. He was moving in a flash, and then he comes running back. As I'm finishing up Haynes Point, he's like, "Hey, Wylie, come on over here, man." He ran like the last, and I was still running too slow for him at that point, even after he'd run 10 miles. So. But we're not really here to talk too much about us. The Back on My Feet is a great charity. So I got actively involved in the program here. I was able to participate in the first running shoe fitting there at Pacers, and then the first run with Back on My Feet, which was really an incredible experience. Is your guys were getting outfitted with running shoes.
Absolutely.
So you got started here. How did the whole takeoff of the chapter here, did that work out? It seemed like it went really flawlessly.
It was great. So a little bit of background about our program. So we started in July of 2007 in Philadelphia with 9 guys, with the simple idea that running was something that Ann Mullen, who founded the organization, knew that it really helped her with a lot of things in her life to help her move her life forward, helped her stay grounded, helped her stay focused on the greater picture things that she wanted to do in life. She had the simple idea of them wanting to possibly translate that to other people who are experiencing difficulties in their own lives. So it really grew from a very, very simple concept, and that's something that has enabled Back on My Feet to be successful. we don't over-engineer it. It is a program that helps people move forward and uses running as the vehicle to do so. So we work with shelter programs and rehabilitation programs in Philadelphia, Baltimore, DC, and Boston. We'll be expanding to Chicago later this year. Our DC chapter has been started March 22nd. So what we've done is we've created a partnership with 4 shelter programs here in DC. So we engage folks at those facilities in running, and through their consistent participation, we help with links to job training, job placement, and ultimately housing. So running is what brings people together, and running is the common element where people can earn the ability to access greater partnerships through their attendance and participation, which we track every day when we run.
So these are homeless people. Have they been runners in the past, or is this a totally new sport to them?
A lot of them have been previously. A lot of them have had experiences with high school athletics, or maybe just things that they've done here and there. Some of the guys, if they've been incarcerated, some of the guys were active while they were incarcerated. For the vast majority of our members, though, they've not been active in quite a while. So this is something that is the opportunity to get back involved with, being healthier, making better choices for your body, and incorporating that with a kind of social rehabilitation that happens to rebuild someone so that they can move out of a shelter program or a rehabilitation program and really be successful in the things that they're going to do with their job, with getting back in touch with their family and moving their lives forward.
And that's really one of the really neat things about Back on My Feet is not only do you train the people, to the members to run, but you also help them with jobs, with living.
Right.
And
like we said, running is the vehicle. Running's where it all starts. So when someone starts with our program, they start with 1 mile. The majority of members, when they start, they can't run a full mile. The majority of our members are overweight, they smoke, but they have the same running goals that everybody has when they get involved with running. Phil, like just as you were saying, that you wanted to feel better, you wanted to get healthier. The guys have the same goals. And so this is a way to do that when that might have seemed like something crazy. One of the things that I really love about the program is the conversation that I'm able to have with guys who've been in there for 1, 2, 3, 4 months to say, well, okay, what was the initial reaction when we came and said, do you want to run? The majority of the time the reaction was, well, we thought you were crazy. However, it oftentimes I think it's the fact that the idea is so different from what a lot of our members have been faced with, that almost enables our members to take that chance, to take the opportunity to do that. And through that participation, once they've been with us for a month and now they're running 2 and 3 miles a day, well, then how can we apply that to the other things that you want to do in life? Maybe you're 40 years old and you thought it was crazy to get your GED. Well, let's use the fortitude that you've gained as participation in this program. Let's use that to then as to move you forward and get you involved with those other programs. And through their participation, our members are able to access those types of things.
So specifically, how does this program work? How many times a week are these guys running? What other activities are they doing? Are you getting them into further job training,
right,
and things of that sort?
Right. So we run Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 5:45 in the morning. So it's early, but as anybody who can run will attest to, there is no better way to start off your day than being active, than being engaged, and being around really good people. One of the things that separates Back on My Feet from so many other programs is that it's not just a running group. And we really stress that to people. It's a community, it's a family. We have fun when we're out there in the morning. It's very, very different than the majority of other groups that are out there. It's not about who can run fast, but it's about sharing that experience and really using that, focusing on that time there that we have together in the morning to move lives forward. So we meet at 5:45 in the morning, and we track mileage and attendance each day that we run, each Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Our members need to have at least 90% attendance to move forward in the program. So once they've been running with us for 1 month and have at least 90% attendance, they move into what we call the next steps phase of the program. This is when we sit down with them and say, okay, what are your goals from a broader perspective? Not just running, but do you want to go back to school? Do you want specific job training? Is there a specific job that you've had in the past that you want to get reattached to? How can we make those types of things happen? So we start then we have partnerships with organizations for computer training, for adult literacy, for GEDs, and for specific job training. We then get people on a track to achieve those goals, but meanwhile you have to continue to run. If you've been in the program for 2 or 3 months and your attendance starts to slip, it's important to rebuild that attendance to keep that at least 90%, because that's something that's really important, and that's something that enables us with job partners we have to really reach out to them and say, hey, this guy is going to be a great employee for you because he's already demonstrated that he's coming out and running with back on my feet at 5:45 in the morning. So he's not going to have any trouble showing up at 9 o'clock in the morning. He's already been up for 4 hours. So that really gives us a lot of collateral there and a leg up in that job process and that job search moving forward. So running's where it all starts, and that's the collateral, how our members can earn that. And then there's also a grant that our members can access over time to help with education expenses, to help with moving out. They can access a total of $1,250 after they've been in the program for 9 months. They can access smaller amounts along the way as they move forward.
And then how does one of the members go about graduating from this program, if you will?
Absolutely. One of our big focus is that we don't want people to feel that once they do move out that they're no longer involved with the program. It's important for us to establish that sense of community and allow people to have that transcend just their experience living at the facility where they are right now. We really want to create those bonds to keep people together and keep that support structure strong. The majority of our members, probably 80 to 90%, are in a form of recovery from a type of addiction. So it's really, really important to have a stability system there so that when someone does move out, they're not going to lose that. So once someone's been running with us, they can, as long as they have a successful plan for what they're ready to do to move out. So before someone does move out of the facility, before we'll help them do that, we want to make sure that they're employed, that they have demonstrated proof of savings, that they have a lease that they're not just moving into a room where there's no sense of a plan there. We want to make sure that members have those things. Once they do move out, we want to still keep them involved in the program. We have an alumni network that is much more developed in our Philadelphia and Baltimore chapters, because those chapters have been around longer. And we have specific alumni events, we have specific alumni races, things like that we do to really keep people engaged over time in the program.
So in DC, so you've had success in Philly and Baltimore, which is great, but I want to talk specifically about DC. How many sites do you have?
Right.
And talk about the numbers of homeless people that are in the program. You know, talk about specific, like how many jobs and how many of those people are getting jobs, and how is this working for those people specifically?
Right, absolutely. So currently we have 4 teams that we're working with. So that's 4 facilities where we have folks running from. We'll be adding our 5th later this month, and with plans to expand as the year goes on. So we at each of those teams right now, between those 4 teams, we have close to 50 residential members of our program. So those are folks who are currently living in shelter who are running with those teams, who are running every Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning. What we've had thus far is that over 75% of our active members are currently in the Next Steps program, which means that the folks who are running every day. It's not like somebody runs Monday and then they sleep in Wednesday, Friday. We have a fantastic retention rate of over 90% of people who are remaining at those facilities staying involved with the program. That's something that's really, really important to us. So between that, now that we're a few months into the program, we're now in June, the program launched in March, we're starting now to see some folks really getting some positive movement forward. So we've had, just this past week, we had 4 guys start their GED process.
Wow.
And again, these are guys who are in their 40s. They haven't been to school in a long time, but this is a great opportunity for them to take advantage of that and really gain that skill, which is going to help them moving forward with other jobs. So 4 guys just this week started GED. We had, last month we had 4 other guys start a computer literacy class, which is basically an intro to computers. They have then graduated and are moving on to the second stage of that. Next month we'll have another 7 or 8 guys starting that same cycle of that intro computer class to move forward. And we're having guys start to apply for jobs and start to look at, moving out and making sure that for the guys who are working, that they are demonstrating their savings, they are moving forward. So that's the exciting point of the program, is when we get to see that movement forward, when we get to see the guys really not only gaining fitness and meeting those goals, but looking at the bigger picture things and really having the confidence and the feeling that I can do this. And a lot of that comes through participation in running and through the program.
Yeah, one of the, I can speak from personal experience down in the Clean and Sober Streets program down there, that a couple of the members have, like you said, are moving into these next phases, and they've achieved such milestones as D'Angelo just got his 100 his 100-mile
Yeah.
award, which is incredible. Like in the last 3 months, that he's come from running nowhere at all
Right.
to 100 miles total, which is just impressive. And he just loves
Right.
it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's